I'm Bonnie. I'm a float pool CNA at a local hospital. I work anywhere from 24 to 48 hours a week. I work with the float pool, so I work anywhere with neonates to geriatric patients, anyone that's a newborn up to someone who's very weak. I have some very good friends that reached out to me in a hard time and offered me a day pass to come here, and I was blown away. I thought that was such a kind thing to do for me. And my first experience here was so relaxing, and I felt so much compassion and gentleness from the people who work here. It was healing and it was welcoming, and I just wanted to sign up because I knew I felt good after the massage I got, and I just felt like I melted in that first chair that I got into. And I knew it could help me with stress, which I have lots of in my life. I knew it could help me with pain, which sometimes I have, helping people with their activities of daily living. I knew it could help me to relax and have a place to emotionally heal from some of the things I've been through in my life. So 10 years ago in July, I found out I had a brain tumor. At the time, it was life-threatening, and not because of cancer. It wasn't cancerous, but it was very obstructive. It was called an acoustic neuroma vestibular schwannoma. It had wrapped itself around the acoustic and vestibular nerves, which are your hearing and balance nerves, go from your brain out to your ear. And it had grown a tentacle that was at my brainstem. Normally those tumors are not life-threatening, but because mine had a tentacle, it was suddenly life-threatening. The surgery was thought to take about 12 hours, but I was going to some specialists that thought they could get it in 9.5 hours. It came out in 3.5 hours, and it resected all in one piece, which was a miracle. The recovery meant that I had to relearn proprioception, which is where you are in space. And I remember waking up from that surgery and looking at the clock on the wall, and it appeared to be falling. Everything I looked at looked like Alice in Wonderland. Everything was falling. I felt like I was falling in my bed. And the only way for that to change was to get out of bed and walk. And that sounded like something I wasn't going to be able to do. So I remember the nurse putting my hands on the wheelchair and helping me walk, and everything slowly coming back to me. It took me 2 years to be able to walk straight. And the best thing that ever happened to me was when I decided I wanted to get healthy again and start running. And a nurse friend that lived by me that I didn't work with said she would get up every morning with me at the crack of dawn, because that's the only time I can run with a special needs child. And I told her, well, I run like a drunk. She said, that's okay. And as the sunrise came later and later, it was darker and darker when we'd go out to run. And my running became straight, and I started to walk straight. Before my brain tumor, I worked in healthcare as a float pool CNA. 8 years had passed before I got back into it. And I was starting to walk so well and not bump into things so well, I thought I could get back into healthcare, which is where my heart is. Not just as a mom, but in healthcare, helping people heal. Absolutely, it has. I am now permanently deaf in one ear, which means I don't have sound locating ability. If I hear an ambulance, I pull over. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's coming in front of me, behind me, or to either side of me. Sometimes my children can point it out, but I can't. I also have constant tinnitus in my right ear, and it can vary from quiet to loud depending on where I am. If there's a fan blowing, if I'm in a grocery store. And at work, there's a lot of alarms that go off, and that is mentally exhausting. I don't realize that I'm getting as tired as I am until I realize I've been around a lot of stimulation. And so coming to a quiet place like Ahhhsome helps me to to bring down that stimulation, help my brain to feel a little calmer and quieter, and have a place to just relax. Well, I've experienced Ahhhsome in a few different ways. I have a special needs son that is now a young adult special needs person. He has a sensory integration disorder. It goes along with autism spectrum disorder. My son loves people, but he does have a sensory integration disorder. And so when he gets overstimulated, he usually goes for a weighted blanket. And so when I first brought him here once to see how it would help him, he'd been through something really hard, and I really needed calm. So I brought him, and Janae put him in a massage chair that gave compression. My son seeks compression. He pulls on his shoelaces, he pulls on his hood. If he has a hood on, he puts his feet under a rug, or he hides under a heavy blanket. I sat next to my son in a massage chair and watched my son, who has significant ADHD and autism and some mood disorders, go from feeling very anxious to being asleep. It was amazing. And I keep saying that I hope when he gets into his supportive living